Morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bruntsea Town Council Planning Committee meeting of the 3rd of March 2026. I take apologies for absence, please.
Apologies from Councillor Howard and Councillor Gordon.
Thank you. Confirmation of the minutes of the 17th of February. I think you've all had copies of them.
Yeah.
Are we all happy with the accuracy?
Yeah.
Do you have any comments about them? Okay, thank you. So I take them as approved. Thank you. Item number 3, declarations of interest. Do you have any? No? Thank you very much. So moving on to item 4, application number 26/00215, householder planning application for erection of ground floor and onto first floor on 48 Mill Street, Brighton.
Yeah, that's that one.
No, it's not who you thought.
Sorry?
It's not who you thought.
It isn't.
44.
That's the last one. Yes.
That's the end one.
Yes, the one that you come down the road.
Yes,
You look at the little block.
Look,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's all sorts of bits sticking out now, isn't there? That's interesting.
I was intrigued by so the whole plot, because on one of the diagrams, it looks like they're building beyond their boundary, but I didn't realise that was the whole plot. So, do you want to go to the actual elevation?
Proposed existing site layout.
Do propose. So the green, I'm assuming, is the new part. As this is, it's, well, it's near, must be very close to doubling it, mustn't it?
Is this overlooks open land, or doesn't it?
Yeah.
So there's no kind of neighbour involvement
All the way around.
And I think, if I remember rightly, this is to the side opening, this is to the side which is open ground.
Yeah.
Yeah?
If it's on their plot,
It is definitely on their plot.
I mean,
Have we got a site plan that shows how much of the plot's been taken on?
There we go.
is there any regs on doubling the size of your building?
There is
Something
something.
about using, but they're not anywhere near that, are they?
Oh yeah, I can't remember if it's a proportion of the plot or a proportion of the existing, but there is a reg about it, but they've got so much plot.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Looks quite good.
I think it looks quite nice design. Nice design, actually, to be honest.
I don't think we've got any planning
I
reason
think,
to
yeah.
refuse it.
Sorry?
I don't think there's any planning reason to refuse it. It's on their plot. I can see where you thought that it's slightly over.
Yeah, I thought yes, but it's,
Yeah.
They own that as well.
yeah, no, they do own that as well, apparently. And the only other consideration, I think it's on coastal protection zone.
Is it conservation?
I don't think it's conservation, I think. Oh, it might.
Oh, I thought Mill Street was conservation.
I would have thought it was, because I'm sure we said the same for the one a bit further down.
Well, shall we?
Can't we just make approve?
We approve on subject to the officers sorting out conservation and coastal protection zone
Correct.
issues?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. So approved on those conditions, well, the conditions required. So
Confirmations.
item number, still for next application 26/00219. This is discharge of conditions for an earlier application to do with the works on the joinery and conditions on the walls. And this is to do with the listed building, which is the university Glencoe, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, I think this is a technical one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I think they need some joinery, don't you?
well, I think
More than a little bit.
I think there's some technical reasons they were asked to do it this way, and now they want to do it another way. I'm not sure if we should.
I
No comment, I think, don't you, on that?
I can't see there's any problem really
No.
because,
It's just
you know,
tidying up, isn't it?
yeah, they're going back and repairing what as best as they can. Yeah, I've got no.
And this is a discharge of the conditions to do with something that unless we've got the detailed plan, we don't really know. So
And they're quite a reputable company doing it.
Yeah, I've got no problem because I think they're being
I've marked
watched
on one,
quite closely as well.
I've marked this down on my chart as, this is a technical issue, so we've got no objections.
No.
And then, final application is 26000253. This is Hythe Grove. Again, a two-storey side extension. Look, there's a more detailed one of that in the next block.
It's quite a big plot as well, isn't it?
Oh, that one. Yes. So again, nearly doubling the size, but on a large plot.
Oh. And they're right up the end, they're not overlooked, or they're on, is that on the corner going in?
Yeah,
That's,
Yeah.
what's that, the call, what's that?
Hythe
road called?
Grove,
20 Hythe Road.
Yeah, is that,
so
that's
that's
the
on the
street in
corner of
front of it.
Fordwich. Fordwich,
Yeah, off Fordwich, yeah.
that has got quite a big plot around it, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I can't see it.
That might be Fordwich.
yeah, that is it. Yeah.
No,
I can't see any problem.
Do you want to just see an elevation of it?
that's not an elevation.
Proposed elevation.
No, that's pretty standard stuff. Isn't it? Actually,
Why do they seem to be changing the roof line on the extensions?
I don't know if this is true, but I asked that once and somebody said metric and imperial.
Oh, no, but I've just noticed that a couple of times, and
Yeah.
you'd think they'd continue the roof line, wouldn't you? So in time it would blend into becoming one house. I don't understand why they've done that.
Anyway, we happy to support that?
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to the consultation of preferred options. Mick, you had a suggestion, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if we could, quickly go through the kind of general points, like, you know, I think we're all pretty well aware of, what the main ones are, but I did see that we had, there's been, again, some things on social media, kind of outlining different approaches, but I think, this national planning policy framework thing that we got this morning is, and they're saying respond by the 10th of March, so is there a national consultation going on as well?
I have no idea.
But that, if that is kind of what they're trying to do, that would seem to change the whole, change the movement of goalposts quite significantly, wouldn't it? Because it means they can build cheaper houses with less regulation, and it does seem a very backward step in terms of, well, it's much net zero, but actually in terms of just sensible kind of.
I don't really know what we're supposed to be doing then, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Did any comments come from the public meeting?
Yeah.
That seems to be
What
important.
the,
Yeah, from the public meeting, did anybody come up with a suggestion which is valid?
There were lots of
well,
different
no,
approaches, yeah.
right, I'm confused, right? So on the public bits that I did, everybody said we haven't got enough of something, roads, water,
It's all-
electricity.
yeah.
Schools, doctors was probably, after the road, doctors were probably the second thing, schools were the third thing. Certainly congestion, number of them came back and said it's going to be absolute murder when they're building it because of the construction traffic, particularly as move-ons apparently are increasing what they're doing. I don't know about that, but that's what I was told. That was about it, wasn't
I
it?
think a lot that, when I was here, come up, and I think Rick, you came in after me, and Mick probably was here, was, quite a few people said there is other sites that could we use, smaller sites.
Oh, yes, sorry,
And I must admit, Paulwood we're working quite hard at the moment on the Wellcabs site. I've asked him, can we look at the other sites that were submitted? Some, okay, definitely are just not worth looking at, but the one, Vicarage Field, is it called, or just
Yeah.
off Strangers Corner, I said, I think that could be a site that seriously needs looking at, and they agreed. In fact, they're gonna come and have a walk around on some of
Where
these
what is
sites.
Vicarage Field?
So,
Actually, where the horses are,
Ah, that's one we've turned down several times.
we've turned down 2 houses at the back of that,
Yeah.
but not the development. In fact, the plan is quite nice, I've seen the plan. They were a little bit worried about coming out onto the road,
Yeah,
but as we said, there is a lane there, is there no way they can join into that lane? For access, which they thought was quite an option, because there's housing there already. He wants to come down and have a walk round with us and have another
Who
look,
owns
so,
that field then?
Okay.
Simon Carter.
No, it's
Oh,
Jim.
Morden.
Morton.
Morton.
I thought
I
Simon
think they're in
Carter.
partnership.
Yeah, they are, so there is an option that, yes, he's agreed to come down and have a walk round with us on these other sites. They're well aware of.
Can I, Vic, you were taking some notes
Yeah,
there.
so
Oh, the other one that might be worth saying was a number of people also said it's a bit of a pea on the pudding in the sense that it's so outside. Will it integrate?
Well, I think that's a fair point. Nobody came up with any sort of an old covenant or something like that.
No.
So, because that would radically change it, wouldn't it?
But there was one guy who went on about drainage and water and things like that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I heard that from planning.
So what is some going on about the coastal protection belt?
It is in the
Yeah,
coastal.
it is.
Rain conservation.
And it's also in flood zone, that's in this appeal.
Except it's 20 metres above sea level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it is
I
very
don't
wet.
think that's going to work. The highest bit of brightness
I must
is
admit,
25.
And I think a lot of things that came through, and again were being said to Paul Wood here, and was the environment. Now, we've got badgers and we've got, there's an otter down there as well now, near the water edge. We know there's curlews. This is all in this report, but these have come in a bit more up to date. And Paul was very open, and he said, actually, it's all in your favour. You know, it's all in your favour.
I was going to make a suggestion that rather than us submit, not something hodgepodge, but something that we could construct with a number of bullet points, like we did the AI response on traffic. You know, we can do something like that. But would it not be helpful if we put together all these things like the appeal, like you just said, these areas, infrastructure, traffic, environment, so on, and then got some guidance from Paul Woods about how we put our submission together. Because it's not like we're all on the same page here. We're not in competition with them. We're not like, oh, let's not tell them what we're doing. Let's be secret about it. They are there to advise us. And I would suggest that we might, you know, I mean, I can put a kind of précis together, because I think the traffic one is probably one of the most important.
Yeah.
And then we could really go into more detail on that, and I'm working on that one.
Nick,
So
sorry.
that we just actually can make an appointment with them via Teams or something next week, where we can sit and
Last in the bit presented.
yeah, and then just say, look, this is, we have got some options. We're looking at smaller plots, making up numbers, but
One of the things, Mick, that did come out, I just remembered, you reminded me, was there was a councillor from Thorrington there. And have you looked at the Thorrington plan? Because if their one goes through, the Thorrington Junction's going to be murder.
Yeah, they've got 60 going into, off of Advocate Place.
Hammersmith Place, what, along that road?
Yeah, which they're concerned about, because if the minerals comes in as well, it's going to be right opposite where the entrance will be for that mineral. But it's gonna come out, what is it, 100 metres from Thorrington, from the roundabout, from Thorrington Cross, it's not very far.
But what, the other thing he was saying, so besides that, the other thing he said is anything that loads Brighton Sea affects Starrington. So maybe we should pull them into this a bit.
Well, I think there's a cumulative, and it just keeps growing and growing a bit, this obviously cumulative effect, but we have an internal and an external cumulative impact, because we've got the internal one with the holiday village and the actual this development. We have already got the impact of the developments that have gone on with the marina and Robinson Road already on top, but that's the kind of internal boundary stuff. We've got external, like to Thorrington and along the B1024, is it, the main road. You've got 2029, you've got St Ors's development, you've got stuff going on along there, you've got Bentley, and you've got Alsford.
Yeah.
And putting all those in together, you've got an external cumulative impact, which again, I'm not sure has been assessed properly. So I think what we haven't, but it's not so much what we have got, it's what we haven't got. Have they've probably done what they obliged to do in terms of statutory assessments of traffic impact, and they've done it on Thorrington Cross. 300 houses here would have that impact, but I don't think they've done a cumulative impact, adding all those bits of the jigsaw together, and that would together actually make ours less appealing than all the others. We don't mind them. I'm not saying this. They can do things in other places, but those other places that they're looking at have got better transport access than one road in, one road out. They have a network of roads where people can get to them. And if one road blocks in Alsford, they can go around the back and stuff like that, but we can't. And I think that's something that we have to really kind of play on and get more information on. And I don't know actually where, if that hasn't been done, which I suspect it hasn't, I think that's something that we could ask for, or could
Really build on that.
we get an independent assessor ourselves?
And also the emergency services, it's a big valid point.
Could we get I mean, I'm not saying we can afford it, but is that something we as a council could say, could we look to request?
Have we got the impact assessment for the holiday village? Because they did a traffic.
I'm just gonna say,
There was one done for that.
It's on their website.
So we should get that, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
But Claire Roos might help us. Claire,
No,
it's in Stanley Lane,
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
farmhouse, yeah.
where she works.
Did I not read also that the 1027 top road is supposed to have the worst accident record in Essex? Did you know that?
Didn't.
Yeah, I read that. See if I can find that back again. But it's supposed to have the worst record for accidents in Essex.
More than the A12.
And as Paul,
Well, of a big road.
Of a B road.
yeah, and as Paul Wood said, it's not as if we're
If that's a fact,
outrightly
it's,
saying we will not take anything, because he's well aware, and Gary Guyver's working on this one as well, he's well aware that we're coming in and saying, let's look at the Well House site, let's look at Vicarage Field.
Okay, so how do we process?
Well, I think there are some legitimate questions there. To be, I think, perfectly frank, I don't think I've got the time to do the research, as it were. I would like to ask the officers there's some of these questions that I think come out of that initial consultation. But rather, I think we've got the 23rd of March to put our response in, and I think we need now to progress what they were thinking along those. And I think if we are looking at the traffic one, I mean, there are other aspects, as we've said, but that one in particular, I think, is the Achilles heel of the planning application.
So do you want to still meet Paul?
I would be suggesting that we put together a kind of brief summary of questions, and that if people like this committee is interested in having a Teams meeting, I get in touch with Paul and Gary and ask them if we can have a meeting with them. I'm happy to go into the town hall if it helps us.
Whatever.
I think they'd probably be happy to do it on Teams,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah,
Let's do that.
because I think
Can I
that
ask that it is
then
next
gives us
week?
a little bit, planning plan it in for next week?
Yeah, because the following week I'm in hospital.
Oh.
Cool.
Right,
I won't
Right,
be able to talk.
I mean, I'll just see what their availability is next week, if we do it in the morning sometime.
okay, in which case, we can have a little bit of a pre-meeting to get our, make sure we're all saying the same
Yeah.
thing.
Well, if we can set a time up, we meet half hour before.
Why don't we do a Teams meeting for them, but we'll make it here?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because I think if, can we run it through on that, so it's a big one, yeah.
Can I just say something as well, from getting a communications out, I was quite surprised that with the thing we had last, and also, was it yesterday, a couple of people come in, and they got the wrong side, they said, oh,
We've still got.
they got the wrong side. You know, there's a lot of, and dare I say, there's a lot of information going out on social media, which is just confusing matters. You speak to people and
People
you
are
know,
still picking up on the old site that was
yeah, that's right,
originally
yeah,
put in.
that's the one, yeah.
And one of them come in the shop yesterday for a form and he said, I heard you, he said he went back on the recordings to check and he said, I heard you say, do you want World War III? Because, but another big point they kept bringing up was they've all got to come past a grade 1 listed building. And he said, and that needs to be pushed.
Well, I think the point was made that that we're still classed as a C in Brighton C. And this was a point Mark was making here last week with everybody. And it says large housing development, 100 to 300 homes. Well, we are down to 325 homes.
So we should be up a grade.
So we should be well, it doesn't go past 300. It only goes A, B, C, and then E. So I think we should be a D, if there is such a thing. So that, I mean, again, these are just things we can ask them to rectify. So they got the wrong, what was it, the wrong name?
No, the new site, people haven't picked up that they've moved the site. They're just still thinking it's right up by the church.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it hasn't been moved down.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I think they're still picking up that it's the wrong.
50% of the people I spoke to showed it to them on the map and they still didn't know.
No, I would say it's where the public footpath sign is, and they're twigging where it is.
That's it, yeah.
But another thing, going out a lot on social media where it says they should remove our 300, we're not the only places to be saying that. And if all of them, and we've been quoted, Royal Brighton is asking for their 300 to be removed, we want our 200 removed. And I know Thorpe's one of them that's coming in, so if you're going to do it for them, which will take them below the numbers that are required. And we can't seem to get that part over.
Okay, so if you can see if you can arrange a meeting and then I'll put it round the committee and see if we can get.
We can have a little pre-meet.
Definitely, yeah,
And
because I
then we
want to
should put
sound
forward
as
a
if we've got all the same story.
kind of
Should
brief.
it stay planning committee?
That sounds fair.
I think it's not to get too many.
Okay, and then I'm going to bring in any other business, which is this thing, which is the letter from what they call themselves, the
RCCE.
RCCCE.
Have you had a chance to read this?
Yes.
Right, so for those who haven't, basically it's Essex County Councillors made the RCC, which I think is something of the
Rural Council Community
England,
England.
is that there's a consultation going on with the government to remove the ability of all local governments to put policies in place that reinforce the environmental issues. So, for example, what this policy is talking about doing is removing the ability of district councils to put in policies such as each house must have a certain
Category of
Pin pub,
intervention.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
and they get quite, if you read it, they're obviously quite upset about it.
Yeah.
But they are to assist parish and town and parish councils to formulate their reasoning, blah, blah, blah. They've gone on with some specifics here, but they're actually asking us to go back by the deadline of the 10th of March, which we haven't got many times. With our you councils to submit a response as soon as possible. So I'm assuming we would like to support this argument that this zero carbon home should be maintained.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they actually give you an outline submission, don't they?
yeah, sorry, I'm trying to read this and tell you what it is at the same
Can we
time.
leave that for you to answer?
Yeah, well, I think, we're committed to actually saying that they should maintain.
support.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fine,
yeah,
I'll put something together. No other business? Okay.
Right, sorry, got you.
Meeting closed.
I'm meeting, councillor Oxley in Walton, plays the ones sports branch. Very demanding sometimes, she is.
Well, then,
Yeah.
wait till you get